Hey everyone, I want to give a big shout out to Brian Matiish. He used to be a Sony Artisan years ago, and he has a great website under his name that has lots of great tutorials. His tutorial helped me figure out what I was doing wrong with this, and so I want to do a shout out to him first. All right, so what we're talking about in this video is making painterly effects using generative AI in Photoshop. A lot of us like to make painterly effects, and we do it different ways. We might do it in camera by shooting through glass or shooting through a dirty mirror, using a dirty mirror or, something like that. We also might add it in Photoshop using the mixer brush. We might use the art history brush or a plugin like Topaz Studio 2 or SnapArt, and then you layer that effect back with your original image to create a painterly effect. So it's still a photograph, it just has a filter or a layer that adds a painterly effect. So Photoshop Beta at this recording has the ability to add a new layer and add a painterly effect to that layer, and then you can merge it with the original. The trouble I was running into is that when I make selections, I usually use the select command, and so I could select one flower and make it painterly, but I couldn't do a big picture that had lots of flowers. I couldn't figure out how to select the whole thing and have it work. I would usually use Command A to select all, like this, and that selects the whole thing. But the generative AI doesn't work with that. It ignores everything in the picture and just makes something brand new. I didn't know how to get it to see the picture. So I'm going to Command D to take that off, and Brian Matiish's video showed me how to do this correctly or to make it work. And we need to use quick mask mode. So what we're going to do first to create a painterly effect using the generative AI is to go over to the left-hand side or wherever your toolbar is and go way to the bottom. Underneath the color swatches, you will find the quick mask tool. It is a rectangle with a circle with dots around it. And so we're editing in quick mask mode. So we're going to click on that. And then we have to tell the computer or tell Photoshop what we want to select. So we're going to go up to Edit and Fill, because we want to fill the whole thing with a selection. And we are going to choose color, and then we're going to choose a gray color. And one of the things that he suggested was to do 4D, 4D, 4D. And what that indicates as its hex number is a gray color, which, as you can see, selected over here. 50% gray selection didn't really work very well. It has to be the color, and it has to be, in this area of the color picker. You could try moving your color picker down or up and seeing if picking a gray tone in a different place changes the effect, but this amount seems to work. You can see how this would be hard to figure out on your own. I'm not sure how he did it, so thank you, Brian. All right, so anyway, you go OK, and then you hit OK again. It makes it all red. That means that the whole thing is selected. Well, we need to now tell it what we want to do with the selection. So we're going to go over to the quick mask mode icon and turn it off. It's still selected. It's just we're able to do something with that selection now. And so now we've been given at the bottom here a tab that says Generative Fill. That wasn't there before. We can click in here and tell it what we want it to do. We're just going to say painting. Just keep it simple. We're going to start with painting. You can add in, painting by Van Gogh or painting by Matisse or painting by Renoir or whatever. Like, you can try that and see how it works. It's very rudimentary at the moment. The engine for AI for this is not as advanced as, say, the Midjourney engine. So, or the coding or whatever they do. So you're going to get different effects, and really it depends on how you word your prompt and, as how effective it will be. But basically you do this and then hit generate. And we're going to see what this does. We're going to see if it works at all. Sometimes it creates a mess. Sometimes it doesn't do much of anything. Sometimes it looks really cool. And you're going to have to work with it because you might have to do 100 different generations before you get something that you're like, yeah, I love this. Okay, so this is the first oil painting effect that it produced. And it will produce 3 for you to review first. Here's the second one. Ooh, I like that. And then there is this one. Now, because I did not specify the type of painting or give it any input other than painting, it's going to give you some different effects. Now, this one I think is really, really cool. I don't know if I would use this to blend back in with my original picture. I kind of think this is neat as a standalone generated version of my image. So if I want to just save this, I might just save a copy, and I'm going to just save it as a JPEG, and I'm going to say GAI1 as an option and hit save, just so I can have it later. And this is before I've done any blending. So you could actually go in here and lower the opacity to bring the original back through. So this is about 50%. And we see that the picture starts to come through. Now this, because there's water droplets and those are a feature, the painting lowering the opacity is kind of weird. Like it's not the best, because you want to see those water droplets and they're getting obscured by the painting. So maybe this picture isn't the best, but I did like it at 100%. I thought it looked pretty cool. And then this one is not liking, so I can just go right click on the 3 dots at the top and just say delete, or I could say poor result, but really I just don't like it. So I'm going to delete it, go over to this one and hit delete it as well. And now we have the one version. Now I can regenerate this and go ahead and do another option. So maybe we'll say, let's go painting by Surat. Painting by Surat, generate. Oops, you know what? I'm actually on the generative layer. We'll see if it works with the background or not. I may have needed to do this differently, but we'll see. Okay, so that's version 1. There's version 2, which is actually kind of cool. I like that one. And version 3. So version 3 I don't like, but I'm going to go to version 2. And this looks like a good candidate to blend back with the original. Or, you know, this effect is actually really pretty all by itself. We see that there is some bits going on in the background that are kind of weird. So what I could do is take this selection, use this mask, and then invert it. So Command or Control I for invert, and then use a white brush with 50% opacity or so, and I can paint the effect on. Maybe 100%, I don't know. We'll see. Maybe I want to make the stem look like a painting there. And if I zoom in here, maybe I want to add a little bit of this painting effect to some of this image like this. I don't know, but you get the idea. So you can play and let it generate and then modify your image based on that effect. So this is like a partial merging of that painting effect with the background. So to recap, in order to get the selection correct to make the generative fill work, you have to make sure you use quick mask mode and use color using the hex code 4D4D4D, which is what Brian Matiash said in his tutorial, which was a lifesaver because, like I said, I could not get this to work by using my usual selection methods, such as select, object or whatever I normally use, because it would just be applying it to a part, or Command A or Command or Control A, which would select the whole thing, but it just didn't work. Using Quick Mask and selecting the entirety of the image with this color helped this to work. So yay. The only drawback to this, and the thing that makes me kind of sad, is when you strike a chord of what you love, you can't repeat it. Like you can't isolate that way of generating and use it over and over again. At least I don't know how to do that yet. If you know how to do that, that would be great, because if you could make an action with the AI generating the same thing each time, that would be incredible. But at this point, everything is a bit of a wild card. And so in part, that's part of the fun. You're not going to get a lot of consistency there. But one thing you can do when you find something that you really like, you can go in here and say good result. Like, I really like that. And the other options are poor result or report result or delete, but that's a good one. So I'm going to delete the other ones. Actually, I don't have to. You don't have to delete them, but if you were regenerating a lot, you might want to clean up your panel a bit. But yeah, I think that's cool. So inverted mask lets you apply it and add some of the painterly effect. Pretty cool, huh? Well, have fun playing with that if you have the new Photoshop beta, or if you have a Photoshop that has this as part of it, if this is later on that you're watching. And have a great day. Thanks, everyone. Bye-bye.